Good Monday morning. What's going on, good people? Today is Monday, September 22nd, 2025. Time is 9:02 Eastern Time, and you're on now with another episode of the Monday Morning Quarterback on The Bridge 45 on YouTube. Just giving my recap of all the college scores, NFL scores, other action and things that's going on today, things that in the sports world that I like to talk about. So, got a lot to get into. Action-packed college football Saturday, NFL Sunday. WNBA scores. Congratulations to Asia Wilson, MVP, of course. And a feat that happened last week in high school football in the state of Mississippi that has probably never been done in a long time. And I just missed it last week, but I will give that young man a shout out because that was incredible what he was able to do on the gridiron last week in the state of Mississippi in high school football. So let's first, as always, let's get into some college football scores. Memphis, in a shocker, defeated Arkansas 32-31. Big time upset there. Texas Tech went to Utah and defeated Utah 34-10. Big statement win there because that is not easy to go into Provo, Utah and defeat Utah like that. Tennessee in a beatdown of UAB 56-24. TCU in a dogfight defeated SMU. That's a very big rivalry if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Defeated them 35-24. In a huge upset, Syracuse defeated Clemson 34-21. Dabo Swinney, I'm pretty sure the press conferences are going to be very colorful this time, but he really doesn't have a leg to stand on because Syracuse went into Death Valley and took that victory. Even though it was a rain delay, still did not slow them down. Oregon defeated Oregon State, which should be usually a good rivalry game. But it turned out they defeated them 40 in a sound victory, 41-7. In a very close game between Michigan and Nebraska. Michigan defeated Nebraska 30-27. Oklahoma, in a very good dogfight in SEC opener, defeated Auburn 24-7 to improve their SEC record of 1-0 right now. Ole Miss in pretty much a blowout over Tulane, defeated them 45-10. Florida State in a blowout defeated Kent State 66-10, another tune-up game. Notre Dame got back on the rebounded in a win in-state rival against Purdue, defeating them 56-30. Missouri defeated South Carolina 29-20. Good to see Lenore's was able to come back after that injury scare. Should have been a Big 10, Big 20 matchup. It turned out to be a tune-up game between Indiana and Illinois. Indiana defeated the Fighting Illini 63-10. LSU had no problem with Southeast Louisiana, defeating them 56-10. Texas defeated Sam Houston 55-0. USC defeated Michigan State 45-31 in a good game. Colorado rebounded, got another win for Prime. And got another win for the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime, defeating Wyoming 37-20. And my Miami Hurricanes, that's right, it's all about the U. A huge victory, defeating Florida 26-7. Miami is on a bye week this coming up week, and then we all know the showdown in Tallahassee, getting ready for the first Saturday in October when the Hurricanes take on the Seminoles. Both teams, I believe Florida State plays Virginia this coming up week. So both teams should be undefeated when that matchup goes down. And if you know anything about college football, Florida State and Miami, enough said. You ain't got to say no more. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Teams that were on a bye week this week were Ohio State, Penn State, and Georgia. So definitely going to be some shakeups in the top 25. But October is definitely when the meat and potatoes started. You start to see the meat and potatoes in college football, and you start seeing who the pretenders and who the contenders are in college football this year. So October is right around the corner. First day of fall is today. So definitely looking forward to seeing the rest of the college football action. Anyway, let's get into the gridiron in the NFL. A lot of things, a lot of big games, a lot of special teams. Special teams played a huge role in yesterday's games. Blocked field goals, scooping scores, big men rumbling and stumbling and lumbering down the field. It was a sight to behold. But let's get into it real quick. I want to get into Thursday night football, of course, starting out. Let's get into the Thursday night football. Buffalo defeated Miami 31-21. Miami started off pretty good. They took the initial touchdown, but Buffalo could not be stopped after that. Story of the game, Tua had 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, but threw a key interception that cost them the game. Waddle and Tyreek Hill had a touchdown each. Josh Allen, 213 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cook had 108 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Kincaid and Shakir both had a touchdown apiece. So that's the story in that game. Miami has a comfortable two-game lead in the AFC East already, and we're not even into the month of October. Oh, man. Cowboy fans, if you're like me, that game yesterday was just pitiful. Chicago Bears defeated the Cowboys 31-14. Caleb Williams, man, 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. Our defense got shredded. There was nothing positive. There was nothing positive or anything to say, but our defense got shredded. Dak Prescott, I believe he had over 250 yards throwing, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Javonte Williams did look good running the football, but it was look good running the football. Hey, Fluffy, how are you? He looked good running the football, but that fumble, that changed the landscape of the entire game. Yeah, that's Fluffy the cat, a.k.a. Garfield. So, anyway, Dallas falls to 1-2, and Chicago got their first win of the season with that victory yesterday. Los Angeles Rams defeated, the game of the day, because I thought the Rams was going to take over. I thought the Rams was going to win that game. They had a 26-7 lead over the Eagles in the middle of the third quarter, and the Eagles stormed back. Jalen Hurts said, "Hold my beer, not so fast." Stormed back to a victory, beating the Los Angeles Rams 33-26. Story of the game, Stafford had 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Nakua had 112 yards. Nakua had 112 yards receiving. Adams and Williams had a touchdown apiece. Story of the game for the Eagles, Hurts had 226 yards, 3 touchdowns. A.J. Brown had 109 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. Smith had a touchdown also. Jordan Davis had blocked 2 field goals yesterday, and he blocked 1 for a return for a scoop and score for a 61-yard TD. I'm a Cowboy fan, but as a big man, I can truly say, watching him run the way he did, was incredible. Because for a big man to be lumbering like that was incredible. Fluffy, don't do that no more. For him to run the way that he did like that was incredible. That was something, a sight to behold. All big men should be proud, because for him to be 6'6", 340, 350, he may have lost some weight, but for him to run the ball like he did, and they didn't want that smoke. They did not want that smoke. Anybody to try to tackle him, that was going to be a free day in the hospital, because you didn't want that. Anyway, Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the New England Patriots 21-14. Story of the game, Aaron Rodgers had 139 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Passed Brett Favre for the most 4th or 5th most touchdown passes in the NFL. 509 touchdown passes. He passed Brett Favre yesterday, so I know he was definitely looking forward, happy about that. DK Metcalf had a touchdown. Austin III also had a touchdown. On defense, Hayward had a sack. Watt had a sack, while TJ Watt had 2 sacks, and Queen had 10 tackles. Story for the Patriots, Made had 268 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was sacked 5 times. Henry had 90 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Another great game that happened yesterday. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the New York Jets 29-27. Story of the game for the Jets, Tyrod Taylor filling in for Fields. He had 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. Wilson had 84 yards and a touchdown reception. Mayfield had 233 yards, 1 touchdown. Evans had 1 touchdown, but I believe he left the game. He was injured. He might not play next week. Last-second field goal for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after the Jets blocked the field goal and returned it for a scoop and score. And if you saw Coach Aaron Glenn dancing on the sidelines, you thought that game was over, but Tampa Bay said not so fast. There was a lot of time left on that clock, and Baker Mayfield drove the team down the field, and they kicked the last-second field goal to remain undefeated, setting up a major showdown next week in the NFC, because the Eagles, I do believe, they play Tampa Bay in Tampa. Both teams are undefeated and probably will be in the winner of that will be probably first place in the NFC Conference. In a shocker, Cleveland Browns defeated the Green Bay Packers 13-10. Did not see that happen. I know a lot of people probably lost a lot of money. Story of the game: Jordan Love had 103 yards passing, 1 TD, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times. Rashawn Gary for the defense for Green Bay had 2 sacks. Michael Parsons, I don't think he had any sacks yesterday for Green Bay. Flacco had 142 yards, 1 interception. He was sacked twice. Judkins, the rookie running back out of Ohio State, had a very good day. He had 94 yards and a touchdown. You just never know. That's exactly why you play the game, because you just never know what's going to happen on any given Sunday. The battle of the backups. Minnesota Vikings taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Had no problem. Vikings defeated Cincinnati Bengals 48-10. Story for the Bengals: Browning had 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 3 times. Really wasn't nothing else to talk about for the Bengals. Carson Wentz, former Eagle and Chief and every other team, because he's been on like 6 teams since he left Philadelphia. He had a pretty solid day. He had 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, sacked 3 times. But Mason had 116 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Hickerson, I hope I'm saying his name right. Hickerson also had a touchdown. So, battle of the backups. Minnesota prevailed. Wow. Did not see this coming, especially after they win they had Sunday night in Minnesota. The Atlanta Falcons went to the Carolina Panthers and got shut out 30-0. Wow. A lot of people didn't see that coming. A lot of people lost a lot of money. I know that. Story for the Falcons: Penix Jr. had 172 yards through 2 interceptions. Bijan Robinson had 72 yards rushing. Bryce Young had 121 yards passing. He had a rushing touchdown also, and Rico Dowdle had a rushing touchdown for the Carolina Panthers. So I know a lot of people lost a lot of money, because I promise you, no one saw Atlanta going into Carolina and getting shut out 30-0. Other game: Texans were defeated by the Jaguars 17-10. Story of the game: C.J. Stroud had 204 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was sacked twice. Collins had 104 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Story for the Jaguars: Lawrence had 222 yards passing, 1 interception. He was sacked twice. Etienne Jr. had 1 touchdown rushing. So Jaguars defeated the Texans 17-10. Another AFC South battle: the Indianapolis Colts going to Nashville and defeated the Tennessee Titans 41-20. Story for the Colts: Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones. He ain't Danny Dimes anymore. He's Indiana Jones now. 228 yards, 1 touchdown. Taylor had 102 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. And Moore had a key interception, 32 yards for the defense for the Colts. Pittman had 73 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Story for the Titans: quarterback Ward had 219 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. Tony Pollard had a rushing touchdown. Las Vegas Raiders were defeated by the Washington Commanders 41-24 in Landover, Maryland. Story for the Raiders: Geno Smith had 289 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 5 times. Genty only had 63 yards. Tucker had 145 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Mariota filling in for the injured Jaden Daniels. He had 207 yards passing, 1 touchdown. McNichols had 78 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. And Mariota also had a rushing touchdown. Game broke open when they had a 90-yard kickoff return for the Commanders. So the Commanders get a huge win over the Raiders, 41-24. Seattle smacked down New Orleans Saints. Who that nation? I know y'all did not like that game yesterday. But story for the Saints: Rattler had 218 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was sacked twice. Sorry for the Seahawks. Sam Darnold had 218 yards, passing 2 touchdowns, and Jibba and Horton had a TD catch each. So Seattle get the very much needed win, huge win over New Orleans Saints, 44-13. In the AFC West showdown, the Denver Broncos were defeated by the Los Angeles Chargers, 23-20. Story for the Broncos: Bo Nix had 153 yards passing, 1 touchdown. He was sacked twice. Dobbins, glad to see he's back after all the injuries he's been through, 83 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Sutton had a huge game, 118 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Story for the Chargers: Herbert. Herbert had 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times. Allen had 1. Keenan Allen, old man Keenan Allen, still getting it done, had 1 receiving touchdown. And rookie Hampton had 70 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. The Chargers are pretty much 3-0 in their division, and we're not even into October yet because all 3 of their wins have came against AFC West opponents. Another game I want to get into the NFC West. 49ers in the last second field goal defeated the Arizona Cardinals 16-15. Story for the game: Murray for the Cardinals had 159 yards passing, 1 touchdown. McBride had a TD catch. Mac Jones filling in for Brock Purdy, 284 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was sacked once. Purcell had 117 yards receiving. McCaffrey had 52 yards on the ground, had 88 yards receiving also, giving the 49ers a 1-point victory on the last second field goal, 16-15 over the Arizona Cardinals. And the nightcap, Kansas City Chiefs get a win, their first win of the season, I believe, defeating the Giants 22-9. Mahomes had 2 touchdown passes, I believe, one to Thornton. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he had 1 to Pacheco. Or Pacheco may have had a rushing touchdown. Only touchdown came in for the Giants was Scatterboo, Arizona State, the rookie out of Arizona State. He looks good. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Because his running style, he reminds me of a young Mike Allstott. Just all downhill, smash mouth football. But the Chiefs get the much-needed win, their first win of the season. Little spat between Andy Reid and Travis Kelce on the sideline. But Andy Reid said, I love him. There's just a disagreement. Got a little heated, but they've had those before. Andy Reid is a little like he's a no-nonsense guy. He doesn't care who you are or who you're engaged to. Hey, man, I need you to play football. And he's going to let them know that quick, fast, and in a hurry. Preview for the Monday Night Football game. Detroit Lions taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams got their first wins last week in blowout fashion when the Lions defeated the Bears and then the Ravens defeated the Cleveland Browns. I will give the edge to Baltimore only because it's in Baltimore. But Detroit, listen, I'm not gonna count them out completely because they do have a strong running game. They're starting to pick up pace. And a defense, anybody knows, a solid running game and a good defense can travel anywhere. But I will give the nod, I will give the edge to the Ravens only because they're at home. And everybody plays home when you have a home cooking and you're able to lay in your own bed. So definitely looking forward to that game that's coming up later on today in the NFL to conclude week 3. Other news and notes I wanted to get into real quick. Want to say congratulations to A'ja Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces. She won MVP. I mean, everybody knew that was coming. It was inevitable with the season she's had, leading in every statistical category: points, rebounds, blocks, assists, just everything. I will say it. I'm gonna keep saying it until people understand that I'm serious when I say this. She is the face of the WNBA. It's not even close. She's been the face of the WNBA for the last 4 or 5 years, if you've really been paying attention to WNBA basketball. Every statistical category, every box, she checks it off. I understand with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, they want them to be the faces of the WNBA because they would love a type of impact that Magic Johnson and Larry Bird had in the NBA in the 80s. I get that. The racial impact, economic impact, overall basketball, I get it's so many stones that are going to be hit with that one. So many birds that are going to be hit with that one stone. But they're not there yet. They're not the faces of the NBA yet. I mean, the WNBA yet. That belongs to A'ja Wilson. And it has been for the last 4 or 5 years. So congratulations to her. on receiving the WNBA MVP for this season. Well earned, well deserved. And I just got to give a shout out to this young man. He did this last week, and I forgot to say it last week, but I'll give it to him now. Tylan Keys from Poplarville, Mississippi, which is about an hour and a half from where I grew up. This young man, if you know anything about the state of Mississippi, high school football is huge. Friday Night Lights, they take it seriously. I'm Wayne County War Eagles through and through. I bleed orange and blue. So Friday Night Lights is everything in the state of Mississippi. And there's been some great running backs to come through the state of Mississippi. Probably the greatest of all time, God rest his soul, is the late, great Walter Payton. This kid did something I don't think a lot of people have ever done. It probably hadn't been done in the last 25, 30 years. He had 506 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns. I'm going to say those numbers again. 506 yards rushing. I don't care what level, high school, college, or pro, that is hard to do. 506 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns. Here's the kicker. He's only a junior. He has another year. He graduates in 2027. So he's got another year to get stronger, faster, bigger, and get better. He's doing this as a junior. That is incredible. Tylan Keys, shout out to you, man. If there weren't any scouts looking at you before, any colleges that weren't looking at you before, trust and believe. I don't care. Big city, small town, black, white, rich or poor, up north, down south, east coast, west coast, it doesn't matter. In the game of football, when you put up those kind of numbers, trust me, all eyes are going to be on you because they are definitely going to be paying attention to him now. And he's only a junior. That's insane. Well, it's another episode of Monday Morning Quarterbacking Down with Big Ron Brown, Big Kush, King Kush. I will be posting this to my YouTube page. So, The Bridge 45 at The Bridge 45. So, subscribe to the channel for me, like the videos, leave your comments, give me some feedback. Let me know what you like, let me know what you didn't like. Like I said, once again, sorry for Fluffy, but this is her domain. So I was intruding. So anyway, you guys stay safe. Have a good one, and I will get at you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace.